This is a battle in round 2. We are still doing round 2 games because I am obviously recording these games after I've been sent them, not before. Between SunsinDiary and Diplomatt, Nervii versus Suebi, an interesting barbarian matchup that we've seen before, but we haven't seen it on Alexandria, on a hot forest map that's going to tire out both factions equally. So, starting with Nervii, or Nervii, if you don't want to go with the anglicized version. We always pronounce the names of these factions usually names in the game in an anglicized version, not in pure Latin. There are several versions, Hellenized versions of the names, Romanized versions, modern Latin, ecclesial Latin, lantern, all kinds of different pronunciations. But for the most part, I'm going to be sticking with the anglicized version because that's a lot easier. Levy Freeman, 4 of those. Then we have Celtic Slingers. I think there were 4 Celtic Slingers, but we can only see 3 because of the forest here. Then we have Fierce Swords. They are beefed up Celtic warriors. The Fierce Swords are, not the Naked Swords. And then we have... the 4th Celtic Slinger was here, so it's sort of in the back. Then we have 4 Mighty Horse and 1 Noble Horse. Interesting choice. Let's see if the general is Bogusnuts, and indeed he is. So, for Suebi, we have a front line of 4 Spear Levy. Behind them, we have the Bloodsworn. Let's see, we have 1 Bloodsworn. Then we have Swordmasters with Ariovistus, of course. Bloodsworn on the flanks, a single experience chevron given to them. Then we have Spear Brothers, Germanic Slingers, and Germanic Scout Riders. Usually, you'll see Suebi just not bringing any melee cavalry. And I think that is a very reasonable choice. I certainly never bring melee cavalry myself when going Suebi. Now, in terms of skirmishing, Germanic Slingers will crap all over Celtic Slingers, but they will do so slowly. It will take these units quite some time killing each other. And Germanic Slingers, ideally they want to be firing on these, on the Fierce Swords, or in the Fierce Swords or the Naked Warriors. Fierce Swords only 45 armor. They have a good health value, but that 45 armor hurts them a bit. They have really good melee attack and a beastly charge bonus, but it's that armor and a slightly slow melee defense. Slightly slow. It's not like their melee defense is lower than the melee defense of the Levy Freeman. So, a bit on the low side, you could say. But they are sort of a semi-shock infantry unit. Both players being very patient here. But since Ariovistus is on the field, you expect Suebi to line up in order to use Ariovistus most effectively. But in this particular case, Ariovistus is only going to be hitting a few units here. So, that's one of the things with Ariovistus. If someone deploys like this, very wide, and they deny you the I forgot to mention the Oathsworn. So, the Oathsworn are over here on the flanks, not in the center. Which, of course, means that if Ariovistus hits, it's more likely going to hit the center where the general is, and then the Fierce Swords, they're fairly fast, so if that's the idea here, pulling away the center and winning the flanks with the Oathsworn and then engaging once the fast charge has worn off, that could prove to be a very smart tactic for the Nervii. Very smart indeed. They're both being very, very patient. Just staring down each other from a distance like, come at me, bro. No, bro, you come at me, bro. No, bro, you come at me, bro. But there is something to be said, like the player who chooses to take the offensive is sometimes at a disadvantage, because that allows the other player to just counter his moves. While being the one making the moves, you have to sort of be a few moves ahead. And the micro is harder. Like, having a coordinated assault is more difficult to do than being on this side and sort of responding to that assault by pulling things away and sending things in. At least in my opinion. So walking here is Suebi towards the flanks. And on this map, it's a good idea to walk, because both players are going to be fatigued quite significantly when they are running. I'll just go to fast forward until something happens. We have, let's see, we have Suebi positioning a bit off on the side. That might, you know what? This is, I think this is quite smart by Suebi. We have rotating lines, but it seems like Suebi is trying to line up general on general. You see that? Like, the general started out here, but now the fast charge, he wants the fast charge to hit the center where the enemy general is. So that would be very smart, but the enemy general has a bodyguard of Noble Horse here. And this Noble Horse could do a lot of damage to the Swordmasters on the charge. So this is, it looks like, it might look like nothing is happening here, but I can assure you something is happening. This is all positioning to make the initial engagement more effective for either side. And rotating now, both players rotating. So the lines of Nervii do extend past the lines of Suebi. Suebi pulling down a bit towards these, towards the center. Interesting, because the Suebi has no melee cavalry. Nervii is content to just leave the slingers open in the center and just have Levy Freemen on the flanks. The Celtic slingers are focusing on Spear Levy. Normally, Spear Levy isn't, they're not a target that you want to be focusing on, unless you can shoot them in the back, because they have a bit of armor and they have a decent missile block chance, or a very good missile block chance. But doing a bit of damage to the Spear Levy will allow a unit of Levy Freemen to defeat them, which of course is very, very important in these barbarian engagements. Winning the first engagement, meat shield versus meat shield, extremely important, because the side that has the side that wins with its meat shields will be able to send those in, or the second line infantry has to join the fight, in which case the charge bonus is essentially wasted. So the Dramatic Scout Riders take a bit of damage, but they bait it. Spear Levy charging into the Levy Freemen. And here we have double Levy Freemen going in. Mighty Horse take Javelin Fire. Yep, losing a few Mighty Horse there. The Levy Freemen just wanted to get in their precursors, it seems. A unit of Bloodthorn going in against the Levy Freemen. The Levy Freemen are going to get absolutely smashed. Berserkers here. So yeah, the Bloodthorn just stomp all over the Levy Freemen. Here we have some Mighty Horse running in, supporting, and fast charge is popped, so now it's YOLO time in the center here. Let's see, these units have fast charge. Here come the Mighty Horse in to stop the units from getting their charge bonuses. And it's a very nice move here. Very nice move stopping these units and sending in the Naked Warriors as the second line. And here come the Noble Horse as predicted, doing a lot of damage to Swordmasters. The Swordmasters have their charge bonus, but I'm not sure if they had their attack orders on this unit of Noble Horse. So sending in the Naked Warriors after cavalry is a great way to use the Mighty Horse didn't do much, but it did stop the charge. Naked Warriors, it doesn't look like they get a charge against the Bloodthorn here, and that's going to hurt them quite a bit. Yeah, they're getting slaughtered by the Bloodthorn and the Swordmaster precursor volleys. Fair Swords using Frenzy here to increase the... to increase their charge, also using Shield Wall to increase their armor and melee defense a bit. That certainly helps. Here we have the Mighty Horse pushing through. The Berserkers are berserk, but they've taken a lot of damage, both from precursors, from fire, and from cavalry charges. So Berserkers, one of those units that's just very, very hard to get your money's worth out of, because the enemy is going to be focusing on them with missiles, is going to be focusing on them with cavalry, and it's very hard to make them cost effective that way. Suebi General in the center fighting against Mighty Horse. He's about to get charged by Levi Freeman of all things. Now the Bloodthorn fighting Oathsorn in Shield Wall, not going to do much. Here we have a Kimbri Bowwoman doing damage to the Fierce Swords. The Germanic Scout Riders coming in. Let's see if they're able to damage these Fierce Swords on the charge. Yep. They actually cause some casualties on the charge here. But they're kept in melee, so they're going to be losing to the Mighty Horse. Smart move, sending the Levi Freeman in to hold the Swordmasters in Shield Wall. Because this will allow, like what you're seeing here, this will allow the Fierce Swords to move around and potentially get a rear charge on the Swordmasters. If they don't get shot to pieces first. They are under fire from both Germanic Slingers and Kimbri Bowwomen. It looks like they want to get into the back of this Swordmaster and break it, because it is fighting the Oathsorn General, but the Oathsorn General is winning decisively. No, they're going for the Berserkers actually. And the Berserkers are... yep, the Berserkers are dropping rapidly. So both Berserker units not really effective in this battle. And it starts, but I mean both factions have lost a lot of men. The Germanic Scout Riders into the back of the Slingers here. Spear Brothers, cavalry counter tactics against Mighty Horse with Frenzy Charge. But the Mighty Horse is getting smashed. Absolutely smashed. 45 bonus versus large. Goodbye, Mighty Horse. Also taking some fire for good measure. But this is a problem. The Fierce Swords. These spear units need to get the hell out before the Fierce Swords come in and destroy them both. The Spear Levy is charging in to stop them a bit, which is good use of them. But there isn't a lot of Suebi left on the field here. I mean, I'm looking at the clock. There's 10 minutes remaining, and I don't... I mean, how can Suebi survive for 10 minutes here? There is no cavalry left on the field, but it's quite insane. Because there's only Spear Brothers, Kimbri Bow, Germanic Slingers, and this Swordmaster. Those are the only units left here now. Now let's fast forward and see what happens. So, okay. The Fierce Swords are getting kited and getting hit by precursors. The Swordmasters have broken through, and now they're chasing away Celtic Slingers. We should have some Benny Hill music. Some carnival music here. So yeah, the Spear Brothers are doing a great job. 200 kills on the Spear Brothers. The Swordmaster General is running around in the background, just being annoying, trying to go for a surround together with the Spear Brother. And the Spear Brother is just pushing away the... But there is no way for Suebi at this point. Absolutely no way. At this point, just use your missiles and charge in. Because there is... I'm amazed that the Kimbri Bowwomen have more ammunition remaining. And I'm also amazed that Suebi just doesn't charge in at this point, because there are 2 Oathsorn units left and that Fierce Sword. So the Oathsorn, decent kills, 107, 107. And didn't really lose much either. So here come the Kimbri Bowwomen charging into melee, defeating Celtic Slingers, but then they're getting charged by Oathsorn and that destroys them. So it seems like we're going to get the final engagement, or are we? Is Suebi going to keep kiting? There are more slingers with ammunition left, I guess. Yep, these slingers have more ammo left. So the sword masters getting a few more kills here against the Celtic slingers. Not going to allow the Oathsworn to get the charge on them. The Oathsworn are exhausted. Nicely done here with the Celtic slingers in getting them in here to stop the Spear Brothers. Now it's the final countdown. The Swordmasters attacked in the rear, exhausted, and now they're about to get charged. No, they're running away. Oh, they are going to lose men pulling out, and it's very smart to use these Celtic slingers like this, because the Celtic slingers are going to be inflicting damage to the Swordmasters. As the Swordmasters run away, they're going to be able to tie them down. So using the Celtic slingers like that to catch the slower infantry units, very, very nicely done in this battle. Here we have exhausted Oathsworn just jogging past. And it's fast forward time again. Suebi is going to get chased to the line. Going in with the Spear Brothers to get a few more kills here against the Oathsworn. But now the Germanic Slingers charge in. And costly victory for the Nervii of SunsinDiary. Good kills for the Oathsworn. Wow. On the Fear Swords. 304 kills. That's impressive. Very impressive. Good kills here on the Swordmasters. Very good kills on the Spear Brothers of all things. Good kills on the Skirmishers. But once again, I know some people think that under these rules, Suebi is jolly good. In my opinion, like the kills here on the Mighty Horse and the Noble Horse just isn't, they're not that great. Like, you do not want to get only 37 kills on a Noble Horse. But what this Noble Horse did was, together with some of the Mighty Horse, rush in, stop Berserkers, stop the fast charge from Ariovistus, and that is tactical flexibility that you just do not have with Suebi, because you lack good solid cavalry options, melee cavalry options. Riders of the Hunt, just not worth considering even, compared to these Germanic Scout Riders. And I think Suebi, in this particular case, maybe could have been more effective with, let's see, drop the Berserkers and keep in, but it's difficult. It's very difficult for Suebi against Nervii, because if you drop the Berserkers and you bring in some, let's say you bring in some Wodenaz spears, it's still, I mean, matching up unit for unit, you're still going to be at a disadvantage in everything, but like your Bloodsorn are no match for Fear Swords, but they are cheaper. You can't make that up with having cheaper meat shields. Wodenaz against Fear Swords, the Wodenaz are going to take a beating. So, matching up unit for unit, Suebi is going to struggle against the Nervii on a map like this, because Suebi lacks good mid-tier cavalry options. They lack good mid-tier infantry options. They have the weird Bloodsorn and the weird Berserkers. But they are, for a player that knows what they're doing, they can be easily singled out by a cav unit, or just fire a bit on the Berserkers, get them a few precursor volleys, and they will drop fast. And one of the advantages of Suebi is that their spear levy is fairly sturdy. But once again, very easy to remove that advantage, and Suebi is left with having to use Ariovistus to its maximal potential. And in this particular battle, when you saw Diplomatt trying to maneuver his fast charge where he could hit the enemy general, there was that one cav unit that stopped that from working. So it was nicely done by Diplomatt, recognizing that he needed fast charge to hit in that lane. But it was equally smart by SunsinDiary matching that by putting his heaviest cavalry there and just stopping the fast charge in its tracks. Strength and honor.